is here. So you can access if you are in touch. And I did a book, thanks to Bansal Saab, that we released in October, this book called Ideanomics, India, Middle East and Africa. It is a 40 trillion SDG economy. Anybody working on the area of sustainable development goals will understand what I am trying to say. So this book is a landmark book again, because there is no trade bloc in the world called IMEA. So we are trying to push our government to say that we want a trade bloc of this type. Because there's no point in going to the European Union, because they will only try to sell their goods. But actually, the economy that can transform the world is Africa, because Africa is having 60% of the arable land of the world and is going hungry. So this is an absolute dichotomy. It can't happen. Middle East is a 5 trillion economy with 483 million people. We are 1.5 billion. We do 3.5 trillion. So what Middle East is doing is a clear traction. If we can integrate this Middle East Africa again, 40 trillion, I'm telling you, we will be 13 trillion by 2032, which I keep saying. So this is an all this has happened at this institution with my association here as an associate dean, and I'm trying to do my best because I'm the insider-outsider kind of thing. I don't sit here, but do my work, that's it. And Bansal Saab encourages, and we have brought many discussions here. So one of the days today is a landmark day because it's first time that the public sector is coming here. They come to Scope, they come to other areas, but this is the first time to the NDI. So give a big hand to them. Now, before I proceed to anything in the awards and declarations and all, I want some things to be said about Krishnamurthy Saab. Of course, my book will say a lot, but I want people who had experience to talk about it, experience with him, and there are some extraordinary stalwarts here, and I want their word. And I would like to start with none other than R.K. Singhal and then Mr. G.S. Baba. Those are next half only.
All right.
Singhal Saab, please come over.
I want to say something.
Good evening, and people on the dais and off the dais. Dr. Vishnu Mohan Bansal Saab, Dr. V.K. Garg, R.N. Mishra Saab, Shri K.M. Singh, Shri G.P. Goyal, G.S. Baba, Vijay Rewat, Professor Elia here, and students and senior officers, and my good friend Dr. A.B. here. And he actually, with his fervent and vibrant appeal, has energized all of us. His foundation speaks of inertia, not inertia. Giving energy. And whenever I have met him, I always found him so vibrant and all the time bubbling with energy. I think there was no occasion in my interaction with him that I found him always full of energy. So I am too small a person to speak of Dr. V. Krishnamurthy, because wherever he was, he influenced the life of the people, not only in the organization he worked, but he always believed that no organization can survive without taking care of the communities where we are working. And as Professor Ayers told, that he started his career in a very humble way, in a Karuville as a technician in the airfields. And then in between the studio, I will skip the Tamil Nadu thing. Then he joins Planning Commission as an assistant or something supervisor.
As a research officer.
As a research officer. So there, the father of the Indian Planning Commission, the seniors will know here, the father of the Indian Planning Commission was Mohanlal Vishnu.
Yes.
He took a liking for him. Then he made him some kind of, these days we call technical officer. He was made his technical officer. So the story goes that Mohanlal Vishnu will take him to the Planning Commission meetings. So in one of the meetings, the great Prime Minister Pandit Nehru heard him. And then after Krishnamurthy goes, he asked Mohanlal, who is this boy? He said, he's my assistant. So he said he should come for every meeting. Therefore, Krishnamurthy has a great beginning in him. Would have given such a boy, hardly 25, I think he was born in 1925.
Yes.
This is 1952. At the age of 27, would have gone to his head, but he didn't. All his life, he told us that he was guided by few things, that treating people, giving importance to people and treating them with dignity.
Right.
We have seen, whenever he come out of his office, chairman office in sale, suppose he has to go on tour. His PS was Mr. Vijay Notra. So he will come and stand like this in the front of. He could call Vijay inside also. Vijay, you know, I have to go to Durgapur. Will you please make my program? So that was Mr. Krishnamurti, and he always believed in communicating with the people. And when he came to sale, we had stalwarts. You know, those days stalwarts who had made their life, what they call in the filmy language, made their bones in the steel plants, in the blast furnace, in the open heart furnace, in the rolling mills, in the cocoa mills. Those are the hot areas. So those days, sir, people from those areas will become the MD and chairman. जैसे कि आदमी तो बाहर से आया है, BHEL में काम किया है, he has got only some in between his don't mind. So he said कि ये तो बाहर से आया, ये क्या करेगा? किचु करते पार गया, मंगला में बोलते हैं डॉक्टर। हर एक जगह अपनी लैंग्वेज में किचु करते पार गया। तो हम लोग भी I had joined in 1983. So many of my friends told me, why did you go to sale? Why did you not go to others? I got few other offers which I did not join, and somehow stuck to sale. But we were little young age, we were little disappointed. I was in Durgapur. So we were little, because of the background, political background, 1971, we were little afraid. Don't mind if it gets extended.
No.
Because my talking, explaining my personal
Sure.
So we were little afraid of talking to unions. And always, there was a overtime culture. Nobody could say, our seniors would say, "Bhai, Sham ko, chupchap overtime sign kar do." On my signature, he will get the overtime. That was the culture. So we were all little disappointed. Why did we not accept the other offers? Suddenly, when Mr. Krishnamurti joins, तो 8-10 महीने तक कुछ नहीं, nothing happens for 8-9 months. But during that time, what he was doing, he personally interacted with almost 25,000 people.
Yes.
And also met the unions, stakeholders, and everybody. He met a lot of people. And then one day I was sitting in my office with my friend, we were taking tea in the room. So we get a small booklet with letter, "Dear Rakesh." So it was a kind of other seniors say, आज तक किसी chairmanship में junior के पास nobody has got the letter like this. That was the first thing. We thought किताब आया है, चला जाएगा dustbin में. That was the, but we were wrong. The next day we found all our top management people were called to this management training institute. Ranchi was there, sent to place. Same guy, this all people. They were very fantastic institute. Sometimes I will ask people to invite Bansal up there, and then you can see for yourself. So there, all those big shots, MD level, they did the brainstorming. After brainstorming, they came out with certain points. And then we were given something called priorities for action. That book had five priorities of action. Those priorities of action was improving work culture, making optimal use of installed facilities, then increasing productivity, generating profits through control of cost, and providing better customer service. Very simple thing.
Yeah.
But these simple statements, he converted them to multi-dimensional approach. Those approaches, I will reflect few of them. And the first thing what he did was, he hit the nail where it hurts most. Whether public sector or private sector, all levels, not that the unions alone, even officer level. We create some holy cows. You can't touch them. So those days when we had joined, I was in non-works department. So we had joined, the timing was 10 to 5. My friend Bhimsen is here, he will be certified. 10 to 5 timing was there. Krishna said कि 10 to 5, 7 hours तो कुछ भी नहीं होता. Public sector at least 8 hours तो है. Nowadays, this another person, Mr. Murthy is talking, we should have said क्या one. So he said कुछ भी नहीं होता. Then he said 9 o'clock, everybody has to come. And then there was a huge uproar. People tried to stop his car in front of the corporate office. And some union people, they also tried to oppose. He didn't say, because he was a very polite person. He went to his room, and people like Mr. Bhimsen were here in personal department. They were asked to draft the transfer order for all the individuals. They were all sent to, They were all sent to our plants from Ceylon or somewhere. And they all tried the political pressure because he had political immunity. He was at no, because when he was to become the chairman of SAIL, so he refused. He narrated the story is, we did not know in the story in his autobiography that at the helm.
Yes.
So I told Nehru, Arvind Nehru told the Prime Minister wants you to take over SAIL.
Correct.
He said, no, I will not.
First he refused, I know.
He said, no, he will ask me to, he will judge me on the basis of my performance in SAIL. He said, no, I promise you, he will not judge me. He put me on the Prime Minister, connected to the Prime Minister. He said, I will not judge you. Okay, then he was approved to be the chairman of SAIL. And then once he became chairman of SAIL, he wanted to go on leave for a month. He told Nehru, I had already applied for the leave, my leave was already approved. He said, no, you don't go on leave. First, join SAIL because Prime Minister did not like it. And after that, you get the leave. He gets the leave and then he goes. That is how the story of SAIL started. But this practice for action which he started, and that got converted into all kind of, big movement in SAIL. There used to be a meeting by top management, then that will come to percolate down to us. Those days, as these days, now the culture is of interaction. In our time, it was only top down. Nobody can question the top management. So, as management trainee, I think assistant manager, junior manager. So, all our junior managers were also invited to the workshop.
Yes.
Or MD office nominated us in the workshop in Durgapur. So, in that workshop, Mr. Krishnamurthy was not there, but MD was there. MD, the local plant. So I was told by people that in my area I should ask the questions. I was in the materials management department at that time, so I asked few questions to the ED boss. So his face started changing. So, but the person said, don't get annoyed because these are the questions. Krishnamurthy has asked them to, you should don't. So, like me, many boys questioned, like somebody questioned ED personnel, somebody questioned ED. So that is how our style got developed. And there was people always fear of unions, asking them for what. So Mr. Krishnamurthy had very few good managers at that time. So he told them that, see, you tell your boys, though I may not be physically available, but I am behind their back all the time. And somehow, those initial 5 years when Krishnamurthy was there, we all felt he is there, standing there behind us. But that kind of feeling I have never got in my life. But when Krishnamurthy was there, we always used to get this feeling that he is standing here. I don't know why, because when he was chairman, I never met him. I used to interact because I was a junior manager and chairman is a huge difference, but he used to follow what he used to say, strongly follow what he used to say. So his first thing, I think I used the story of overtime. Then he changed the culture of overtime. He said no overtime. Nobody will sign. Then MPs and everybody said this is kind of a holy cow. Why you want to change? People will not work. He said, please, if nobody wants to agree to this overtime, then you please resign. So he just introduced, and in his book he narrates. Somebody asked, like Professor asked the question, why did you insist overtime? Only bill at 6 crores. It's not a question of 6 crores. It's just this timing, change of timing, 10 to 9, and similarly this overtime is a matter of discipline. So that is, he believed in kind of a big communication with people, not only in this, and he succeeded. Those days, he also believed that public perception of the organization is very important. So he encouraged people to go for big communication. I believe Mr. Krishnamurthy must be the first person from Indian public sector to be featured in Financial Times in the year 1987.
Absolutely.
I wanted to bring that article, I couldn't go to say it is there in our SAIL news. Financial Times London, he probably was the first person, maybe other, but probably he was the first person in 1987 with reference to SAIL, he was featured in Financial Times. In 1989, he had a competition with Mr. Rusi Modi to be the businessman of the year. we know Mr. Krishnamurti was selected. Nobody thought that Krishnamurti will be selected. We had this selection committee entirely consisted of private sector. Only one or two was, one secretary was there. Businessman, see, Business India, Businessman of the Year, those people are here. This is a big thing even today. They don't select easily. Business India, Businessman of the Year comes on the cover story. On the cover. Sale had a first cover in 1989, another in 2006. So that kind of gap. Otherwise, covers you can get in any magazine. But Business India, I must say that they are very particular about the cover, featuring on the cover.
So this is mentioned, the story I mentioned before.
Very good. So they said कि why did they select Krishnamurti was that if Krishnamurti would have failed, the entire Indian public sector would have to be written off. That was the thing. So he has called him Pitama not for nothing.
Yes.
I have a lot of things to narrate about him, but I can't due to the limitation of time. I will only say that his belief in the human power was super. And you know, those days public sector people, we had a kind of a inferiority complex. So he said, you are inferior to none. To kill that feeling, I do not know how many people were trained. People like me and senior level people were trained by Indian Institute of Management. They don't step out of their IIM Ahmedabad people, they don't step out of their college. People have to go there for training. But we were lucky that they came to Multi-Ranchi for 1 month. Professor Kalra, Professor Rao. For 1 month we were trained by them. Just to remove this feeling of the junior level people, senior, everybody was trained by IIM Ahmedabad. And senior people were also trained abroad. He has perfect belief on training. Similarly, many things he did, I can't narrate the whole thing. But I will read out few quotes by those MDs. Krishna, for any change to be long lasting, people, the boys here will know about, everybody will be knowing about Kota, change management philosophy of Professor Kota of USA. So Kota always believed that you should have a change should cover large number of people. You should bring some kind of sense of urgency. And also you have a guiding coalition. You should have people to carry it forward after you. So Mr. Krishnamurti not only focused on MDs, focused on junior people like me, then focused on middle management, focused on slightly higher management, the people who were general managers at that time, or managers. So suppose I have a quote from Mr. Y.T. Sharma, he was managing director of Yugam Steel Plant. In 1984, he was general manager. What Mr. Sharma says, that Dr. Krishnamurti applied multi-dimensional approach. Krishnamurti achieved what can be called organizational reform through continuous communication with various stakeholders. I am audible, boys? Yes, sir. Frequent communication with trade unions resulted in quick improvement in workforce. See what happened in unions. There was always a complaint that unions are not working. So Krishnamurti in one of the meetings told the union that you people are not working. Unions gave very standard and fantastic advice. They said your management has to ask us to work. And that message was communicated. From then onwards, you are never afraid of asking workers to work. So different plants have different story, but Eastern India was a different background.
Right.
And he brought in at that time the culture of technology. He brought technology manual was brought out for entire stage. And then not only this technology manual was brought out, personal manual was updated, standard operating procedures for maintenance were implemented. We were using furnace oil at a big cost in Durgapur. It was reduced. So we attacked each and every point which can improve the cost. And then, another Mr. K.K. Khanna, I don't know if that is in Delhi. What K.K. Khanna says that Krishnamurti was a great manager and leader who effectively changed the entire work culture of state. And Mr. Khanna says, I have personally observed him from working in this. And one of the boys, like young boys like me, he says, I have not, when I was working as assistant in Bhilai, he used to interact with me and take inputs. And this is another important point, these people, the senior people would be all, somehow anything will happen in the plant and Krishnamurti will know. Sitting in Delhi, what is happening in Bokaro, 1500 kilometers away,